Today I'm recording the video holding the phone in my hand and watching because I'm waiting for some notification. It could be that if I receive a notification, you will never see that video because I will be interrupted and I will go live immediately instead of recording. But at the moment, it's a bit too early. On the other side, I can tell you that today you can find an extremely happy Beppe, extremely happy, especially if I read what is written on Tuttosport. Ciao Motta, subito Tudor. And there are two words in the four words that we read, Ciao Motta, subito Tudor, that really make me happy. The first, the biggest one, is subito, immediately. And then the second one is Tudor. I will explain you why in a second, but first of all, let me say hello to all of you. Ciao Juventini of the world. My name is Giuseppe. Welcome back on the channel. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all awake because a lot of things are happening behind the scenes. Nothing official as we speak, but a lot of things are moving. And it could really be that in this morning or maybe in the early afternoon, we already have a first announcement. And then a few hours later, maybe already the second announcement that tomorrow in La Continassa, instead of having Thiago Motta, coach, being there until the game of Genoa or maybe later, we already have the face of Igor Tudor. So if you didn't yet, please also today on a Sunday morning, put a maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel because now we start. When I'm telling you Ciao Motta, subito Tudor, I'm extremely happy because looks like the management, they watched the video of yesterday that I recorded where I said, look, I don't get my club. I don't understand my club. Really, sincerely, I need a bit of explanation. Not that much about Roberto Mancini, that's what I said yesterday, but especially about the timing, because we confirmed after the Fiorentina game Thiago Motta, and looks like, from what we were reading yesterday, that we want to continue with Thiago Motta until the game of Genoa. Whatever happens, draw, win or loss, the destiny is already written, because after that game, we will say goodbye to him, which I didn't agree with, especially then if the motivation is purely financially, because we want to have that second coach from the second trimester, April, May and June, to save a bit of million, to shift a bit of million from here to there, would have made totally no sense. We are Juventus at a certain moment when we know that the situation is really critical. If you know that there is a big one to reach, a really still big, huge objective that is still possible because we are at -1 of Bologna, that is fourth in the ranking of Serie A. You need to just push away these financial books, shift, etc., etc. You say, we are Juventus, we want to do whatever it takes to do the right decision, to take the right decision, and to avoid postponing one more game with the risk of losing, because we all know it. It was written that Thiago Motta would have played probably or led the team in his last game. What motivation would he have reading the pages every day, knowing that he was already out? What would have been the motivation of the players? What would they have to prove to Thiago Motta? That they were playing well, that they were available, hoping for a starting spot against Roma? Probably not. What environment are you creating there? Zero environment, or a really toxic environment, more than it was already in the last few weeks. So I didn't understand the decision of yesterday. Today, when I'm reading immediately, subito, Tudor, well, I can say that the club is doing the right thing at the moment. Then, you will tell me, Beppe, but you are the man that said never sack a coach in the middle of the season. And I will continue with that narrative, with my credo about that. I never like, and that's really the bottom, the last resource, the last thing that you need to take as a club. Something that I never wish, whoever coach is on the bench of Juve, I never wish to change in the middle of the season. Maybe because I'm an old vintage Juve fan, that in 120 years of history of Juve, well, I saw coaches being dismissed during the season only 5 times for sporting reasons. So I'm putting aside a Max Allegri that we know that was for other reasons, or other coaches like Carcano in 35. But except of that, for real sporting reason, only 5 times. Because I really believe that you start together, you end together. But when it's written on the face here of Thiago Motta that Genoa will be, whatever the result, the last game, and if it was not Genoa, we all know that that story would have been repeated for the Roma game, made totally no sense. You need to stop. You need to stop because They were not giving a second chance. Was I believing in a second chance? Who cares? But if Juve is not believing in a second chance, it's better to stop immediately. Then, of course, there is also another story. The story of Roberto Mancini that I didn't want, and I didn't even think would have been the perfect fit at the moment for this Juve. I prefer by far Igor Tudor, because we know it. One of the skills of Igor is the love for Juve. It's that grinta, it's that motivational part that he already showed in diverse clubs where he went. One of the last examples is at Lazio. He enters and he's saving the season of the Biancocelesti, a coach that has that skill of being able to have a limited impact entering the locker room and having the best from these players from one thing. Here, the mental perspective, that mental tenure, that maturity, and also having, let's say it, here you can see them, the balls to enter and not being scared, to go and to give everything. And that's probably what we need today. A coach that is not going with a huge big revolution of players or system, etc., but one that can enter the locker room and especially the heads of our players in that really young team that is really lacking what I just mentioned. So I'm super happy about Tudor, you know it. If you go back in history of the channel, I made 2 episodes of Relive the Past. The first one was one of the players that actually made me fall in love, Toto Schillaci. The second one was Igor Tudor, just to tell you how much I care about the Croatian ex-Juve player. Is it official now, today, as I am recording? Let me watch my phone. Still not. But if true that if Fabrizio Romano this morning is saying that all the documents are prepared to being signed, and then you see Romeo Agresti that is saying welcome back Igor without blah blah blah, without blah blah blah, we can say that we are just waiting for it. Even Gazzetta dello Sport has to give up with their narrative because they go with a breaking news. La Juve ha deciso, Juventus decided, out. Motta, Tudor is arriving. He would be in Torino already this evening. So if Tudor would be in Torino already this evening, it means that we are just waiting for an official news during the next few hours. So put the notification ring on, because it could be that I jump in the live from a moment to another. Good decision according to me, absolutely yes. Even if I believe it's a huge big L for Gazzetta dello Sport that yesterday was telling us Mancini said yes. And even this morning, in the papers of this morning, not yesterday, this morning, you can read Thiago Motta, a man alone, with his idea that he's waiting for Genoa. After the weekend, so tomorrow, he will be in La Continassa to resume his work. He will not make a big revolution, but he will slightly adapt. I don't know what they are speaking about, Fabiana Della Valle. I don't know what her sources were telling, but it will not be at La Continassa. This is something that I nearly can guarantee you. So what happened between Mancini, Juve, Tudor, Elkan, etc., in that meeting? Because it's not that the Gazzetta dello Sport was inventing the name of Mancini. Mancini has been contacted a few times, but it was more from the side of Giuntoli. Giuntoli that also spoke with John Elkan in that meeting that we were all waiting for to have a bit more news, offering again or presenting again the solution Mancini with a few months contract plus next year, plus probably also the year after. That's what the papers are telling us. So 2 years of contract, 2 years and a half of contract for Mancini until the end of season 26-27. And for the second time, it has been refused by the ownership, by John Elkan, that said no to Mancini. We don't want to already have an impact on the next financial books because we don't know about the structure of the club yet, about the sporting structure. So is Giuntoli at risk? Well, I'm not saying that he's 100% at risk, but under evaluation, under observation, absolutely yes. And maybe another role for him in the future, maybe a bit less responsibility, or maybe not even there. We don't know, but apparently it's John Elkan that said don't go with a Mancini that we are not 100% believing in. At the moment today, he's a good coach without any doubt, but we are not 100% believing in. Don't impact the financials at the moment for the next few years because we don't know about the future. Give us a solution that can have an immediate impact. So I believe that also here, John Elkan is taking a right decision, especially because the Juventini, the vintage one that have a really good memory, 2005, 2006, 2007, up to 2010, they will remember a bit. And I don't think it was the right decision at today with supporters that are absolutely not in the mood to, on top of that, starting with a controversial coach. A coach like Igor Tudor for a few months would be or is a better solution. So what are the terms of Igor Tudor? Igor Tudor until the Club World Cup, without any promise, without any automatic renewal, even if he reached top 4. And I have to admit that, again, Igor Tudor is doing it. He's doing it again in showing a huge act of love that he already showed when he was a player with us. He played with us 7 seasons, let's say. The last game he played in January 2005, in January 2005, 174 games for Igor Tudor, 21 goals, 4 titles, 3 times he won the Scudetto, but where he really showed that act of love was when he was a coach in Croatia, Hajduk Split if I'm not wrong, and paying from his own money, his own pocket, 150,000 euro to break the contract he had as a first coach to enter the staff of Andrea Pirlo. I never read a story like that in my entire life, especially not if it's linked to Juve. So he's showing it again in accepting something that is totally crazy. 2 months, 3 months with the Club World Cup at Juve without any promise. Grande Tudor, seriously. Whatever he will do, I can only say bravo, bravo, and showing again a lot of respect for Igor Tudor for that. We will come back on Tudor in a live in next videos, so bear with me. I don't want to go too much. I just want to ask you a question. What about you? What do you think? Is it the right solution to stop immediately with Motta? To go with Tudor instead of Mancini? To go with a small period for a coach? Let me know everything. And if you want to have still a bit of football, a bit of joy watching football, go back and watch the goal of Vasilija Ajic of yesterday with Montenegro from 40 meters, a free kick that is just incredible. That finished everywhere. Went viral. Grande Vasi, grande Vasi. Forza Juve.